For Evilness series, this time I'm gonna do something different, Family Guy. Yup, a cartoon show. Trust me, this will be interesting. First up, we've got the legendary Adam West. Now, this guy's about as neutral as they come. He's the former mayor of Quahog, and let's be real, he's a few fries short of a happy meal. But evil? Nah, not really. Adam's more like that weird uncle who shows up at family gatherings with conspiracy theories and odd inventions. Sure, he might accidentally cause some chaos now and then, but it's never out of malice. It's just Adam being Adam. Whether he's fighting imaginary monsters or renaming the town's water supply Adam West Water, he's just living in his own bizarre little world. Now, let's talk about Bertram. This little dude, he's straight up in our devil tier. I mean, come on. He's Stewie's evil half-brother, and he takes sibling rivalry to a whole new level. Bertram isn't just content with stealing Stewie's toys or calling dibs on the front seat. No, this guy tried to erase Stewie from existence. Talk about family drama, right? He's like if the evil queen from Snow White was reincarnated as a football-headed baby with a vocabulary that would make Shakespeare jealous. Next, Brian. Now, you might be wondering, how can a martini-sipping, novel-writing canine be considered somewhat evil? Well, buckle up because we're about to take a stroll through Brian's morally gray park. First off, let's acknowledge that Brian often presents himself as the voice of reason in the Griffin household. He's well-read, politically aware, and isn't afraid to call out the family's shenanigans. On the surface, he seems like a good boy. But scratch that surface, and you'll find a whole lot of complicated. Let's start with Brian's ego. This dog's got a superiority complex bigger than Peter's appetite. He's constantly trying to prove he's the smartest guy in the room, even when he's clearly out of his depth. Remember when he went back to college and couldn't handle not being the big fish in a small pond? Or how about all those unfinished novels he keeps bragging about? Brian's insecurity often leads him to put others down, especially Meg, just to make himself feel better. Then, there's his love life. Oh boy, where do we even begin? Brian's romantic escapades are a masterclass in manipulation and deceit. He's lied to women, dated students, and even knowingly pursued his best friend's wife. Not cool, Brian. Not cool at all. His treatment of women often borders on predatory, using his intellectual persona to take advantage of them. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about Brian's substance abuse issues. While it's often played for laughs, his alcoholism has led to some pretty questionable decisions. He's driven under the influence, neglected his responsibilities, and generally acted like a mess. And let's not forget his recreational drug use, which he often glorifies. However, it's not all bad with our furry friend. Brian has shown moments of genuine kindness and selflessness. He's stood up for causes he believes in, even when it wasn't popular. He's been there for the Griffin family in times of need, and he's shown real growth in some areas throughout the series. So why is Brian in the somewhat evil tier instead of straight-up evil? Because despite his flaws, there's still a good dog in there somewhere. His actions often come from a place of insecurity rather than malice. He's not trying to take over the world or hurt people for fun. He's just a deeply flawed character trying to find his place in the world. In the end, Brian is a complex character that reflects a lot of human shortcomings. He's not a villain, but he's far from a hero. Chris. Chris is like that big, friendly dog that doesn't realize how big he is. He might knock some stuff over, but he never means any harm. Sure, he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but what he lacks in brain power, he makes up for in heart. This dude's just trying to navigate the wild world of being a teenager, dealing with school, girls, and a family that's, well, let's say, unique. Despite all the chaos around him, Chris usually manages to stay pretty innocent and kind-hearted. He's often the voice of unexpected wisdom in the Griffin household, coming out with those random nuggets of insight that make you go, huh, didn't see that coming. Chris has his moments of teenage rebellion, sure, but they're usually pretty tame. He's not out there trying to cause trouble or hurt anyone. Most of the time, he's just vibing, drawing his weird art, or hanging out with his equally dim-witted buddies. Good tier? Yeah, that fits our boy Chris like a glove. Cleveland is like that neighbor you can always count on to lend you a cup of sugar or help you move your couch. He's the chill, laid-back guy who somehow manages to keep his cool in the insanity that is Quahog. What makes Cleveland good? Well, for starters, he's a loyal friend. Despite all the crazy stuff Peter puts him through, Cleveland sticks by him. He's a devoted father, always trying to do right by his son, even if he doesn't always get it right. And let's not forget, he's probably one of the most level-headed characters in the show. Cleveland's not perfect, of course. He's got his flaws, and he's made his share of mistakes. But at his core, he's a decent guy trying to do the right thing. He's the kind of character who brings a bit of normalcy to the chaos of Family Guy. Herbert. Oh boy, it's him. Herbert is that character that makes you want to take a shower after every scene he's in. He's the neighborhood pedophile, constantly on the prowl for young boys, especially Chris. It's played for laughs in the show, but if you take a step back, it's pretty darn disturbing. His entire character is based around his inappropriate desire for minors. He's constantly making sexual comments towards children, trying to lure them into his house, and generally being the absolute worst kind of predator. The thing about Herbert is, unlike some of our other evil characters, there's no redeeming quality here. He's not misunderstood. He's not secretly good deep down. He's just a straight-up creep who poses a genuine danger to the kids in the neighborhood. In the wacky world of Family Guy, where almost anything can be played for laughs, Herbert stands out as a character who's just universally uncomfortable and wrong. He's the embodiment of stranger danger, the boogeyman that parents warn their kids about. Joe's the kind of guy you'd want on your side in a sticky situation. He's Quahog's finest, literally. As a police officer, Joe's dedicated his life to serving and protecting, and he takes that job seriously. Well, as seriously as anyone in Quahog can take anything. Sure, Joe's got his issues. He can be a bit intense, and yeah, sometimes he goes overboard with the whole cop thing. But at his core, Joe's a stand-up guy. He's loyal to his friends, even when they're being total idiots. Looking at you, Peter. He's a dedicated family man, doing his best to be a good husband and father, despite the challenges that come with his disability. Life's thrown him some serious curveballs, but he keeps on trucking. He doesn't let his wheelchair define him. If anything, it's just made him more determined. Whether he's busting criminals or engaging in some crazy scheme with the guys, Joe gives it his all. Good tier? You bet. Joe's the kind of guy who'd give you the wheels off his chair if you needed them. Lois. On the surface, Lois seems like your typical sitcom mom. She's trying to keep her family together, deal with her man-child husband, and maintain some semblance of sanity. But dig a little deeper, and you'll find that Lois has a dark side that pops up more often than you'd think. First off, let's talk about her parenting. Lois can be downright cruel to Meg, often joining in on the family's mistreatment of her. She's also been known to manipulate and guilt-trip her kids to get what she wants. Not exactly Mother of the Year material, right? Then there's her wild side. Lois has a history of drug use, has engaged in some pretty questionable sexual behavior, and has even committed crimes ranging from theft to assault. She's got a temper on her that can rival Peter's, and when she loses it, watch out. Also her self-serving nature. She often puts her own desires above the needs of her family. Remember when she became a boxer just for the thrill, neglecting her kids in the process? Or how about her numerous affairs and near affairs? Don't get me wrong, Lois isn't all bad. She does love her family and often tries to do the right thing. But there's enough darkness in her character to nudge her out of the neutral zone and into somewhat evil territory. Meg. Meg's life is, well, it's rough. She's the family scapegoat, the butt of everyone's jokes, and she's got self-esteem lower than Peter's IQ. But here's the thing. Despite all that, Meg usually tries to be a decent person. Sure, she's had her moments of rebellion and revenge. Can you blame her? If I had to put up with half the stuff Meg does, I'd probably snap too. But most of the time, Meg's just trying to survive high school, make friends, and maybe, just maybe, get her family to show her some love. What keeps Meg in the neutral zone rather than pushing her into good is that she's not always a saint. She can be manipulative, she's got a bit of a stalker tendency, and when she does lash out, it can get pretty dark. Remember the time she kidnapped Brian to frame him? Yikes. Mort. Mort's that guy who's always there. You know, like wallpaper, but with more hypochondria and stereotypical Jewish jokes. He's not really good, he's not really evil, he's just Mort. As the local pharmacist, Mort provides a necessary service to the community. He's generally harmless. going about his life, dealing with his many perceived illnesses, and trying to raise his son Neil. He doesn't go out of his way to help others, but he's not actively trying to cause harm either. He's got his flaws. He can be cowardly. He's definitely neurotic. And he's been known to bend the rules when it suits him, like that time he sold expired medication. But Mort's also shown moments of courage and kindness. He stood up for himself and others on occasion, and he genuinely cares for his family. He's that background character who occasionally gets thrust into the spotlight, usually with awkward and mildly amusing results. Finally, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Peter Griffin. Now, you might be wondering, Peter in the devil tier? Isn't that a bit harsh? Peter Griffin is like that friend who always takes the joke too far, except the joke is his entire life, and too far is his starting point. This guy's shenanigans go way beyond your average sitcom dad antics. Let's consider the evidence. Peter has committed pretty much every crime in the book. Murder, check. Theft, you bet. Destruction of property? That's just a Tuesday for him. He started riots, caused international incidents, and let's not even get into the number of times he's nearly destroyed Quahog. But it's not just the big stuff. Peter's day-to-day behavior is a masterclass in awful. He's abusive to his family, especially Meg. He's racist, sexist, and generally offensive to, well, everyone. His friendship with the guys often veers into manipulation and cruelty. What really seals Peter's spot in the devil tier is his utter lack of remorse. He'll do horrible things and then be genuinely confused about why people are upset. He's like a tornado of chaos and destruction, except tornadoes don't actively try to make things worse. Now, I know what you're thinking. But he loves his family. He has moments of kindness. True. But those moments are like finding a single edible fry in a dumpster full of garbage. They exist, but they don't make up for the rest of the mess. In the end, Peter Griffin is the perfect storm of stupidity, selfishness, and lack of impulse control, all wrapped up in a package that somehow keeps avoiding jail time. Devil tier? Yeah, I'd say he's earned it. All right, now let's talk about Glenn Quagmire. Giggity? More like guiltity, am I right? Quagmire is that character that makes you want to take a shower and maybe call the police. He's a walking, talking collection of every creepy behavior you can think of, and then some. Let's start with the obvious. Quagmire's entire personality revolves around giggity, but not in a fun, consensual way. This guy's rap sheet of misconduct is longer than one of Peter's cutaway gags. He's a stalker, a peeping Tom, and has been heavily implied to be a rapist on multiple occasions. Consent is a foreign concept to him. But it's not just his treatment of women that lands Quagmire in the devil tier. He's shown a willingness to engage in all sorts of illegal and immoral activities. Remember when he bought a mail-order bride? Or when he tried to trick a woman into by impersonating her dead husband? What makes Quagmire particularly unsettling is that he's not stupid like Peter. He knows exactly what he's doing and chooses to do it anyway. He's manipulative, cunning, and utterly unapologetic about his behavior. Now, the show sometimes tries to give Quagmire redeeming moments. He's been shown to care about his friends and family at times. But these moments of decency are like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. They don't come close to making up for the rest of his actions. Last but certainly not least, Stewie Griffin. Stewie's an interesting case. We've put him in the evil tier, which might seem a step down from Peter and Quagmire. But hear me out. From the get-go, Stewie was introduced as a baby bent on world domination and matricide. This kid's first words were probably, "nuclear warhead." He's brilliant, ruthless, and has no qualms about using violence to get what he wants. He's built time machines, mind control devices, and weapons that would make Bond villains jealous. Stewie's plans often involve murder, torture, and general mayhem. He's tried to kill Lois more times than we can count, and that's just the tip of the evil iceberg. He's manipulative, cruel, and seems to genuinely enjoy causing pain and suffering. So why is he in the evil tier and not devil? Well, unlike Peter and Quagmire, Stewie has shown significant character development over the series. He's formed a genuine friendship with Brian, shown moments of vulnerability, and even occasionally does good things, even if it's usually for selfish reasons. Plus, let's not forget, Stewie is a baby. A baby with the mind of an evil genius, sure, but still a baby. There's an argument to be made that he doesn't fully understand the consequences of his actions, or that his moral compass is still developing. As the series has progressed, we've seen more of Stewie's softer side. He's dealt with issues of identity, friendship, and even love. These moments of humanity keep him from plunging fully into the devil tier. Don't get me wrong, Stewie is still definitely evil. He's like if Lex Luthor and Damien from The Omen had a baby, and that baby was raised by the Griffins. But there's a complexity to Stewie that sets him apart from our devil tier residents. He's evil, but with layers. Like an onion. An evil talking baby onion. And we are done. What do you think of his tier list? Tell me in comments if you disagree or agree with it. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care and have a very nice day.